Mm.
Oh, hey everybody, Taika Waititi here. Welcome to my Unboxing, which is my new podcast, videocast, vodcast, where I talk to my favorite people who inspire me. And today, no exception, the very first person on my very first episode, Elle Fanning, my darling. Hi, good to see you.
Hello, thank you for
I like
doing
the
this.
mirror behind you, like a little halo. That's no mistake. You did that on purpose.
I know everything is extremely on purpose.
Yeah, everything. It has to be. It has to be. There are no mistakes. You can't make a mistake in Hollywood. I'm here in a shitty little office in Disney in the Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you
but
go.
I gave up and came to talk to you instead. Um,
Fun. I'll help you. I can stay on the line if you need to ask anything.
I could do with some help.
Okay.
So I'm notoriously bad at these. So I'm really flattered that you've asked me to do this because I don't really know how to do these things. Some people are really good, and that's their job. You know, like people who interview people. I like to do these things more like just two friends hanging out and talking, and we might touch on the great.
Me too.
Might hit
good.
one or two of the talking points, but we'll probably just have the catch up as two friends.
Cool.
We adore each other.
Sounds good.
I've also got some toast here. I was going to have some Marmite on toast, but for those of you at home, I'm also promoting my own brand of spread, Marmite. So hit the link, hit like below, and the little button below.
No, that is such a no for me. I do not. It's a strong pass.
It's such an acquired taste, and barely anyone acquires it.
I know. I mean, I guess like this, if you grow up on it and stuff. But like, do you like peanut butter? Because I guess it's this,
I like peanut butter, but do you put butter with peanut butter or just the peanut butter?
No, just peanut butter.
Just peanut butter.
Yeah.
For years, I would put butter and the peanut butter. Wow. Two butters.
Just double
that fat
going up. Like,
yeah.
Double heart attack.
Well, that's good. We've managed to burn 5 minutes.
That's what I've learned in interviews. Just eat up the time.
Eat up the time. That's it. And then you're like, I don't want to answer that question again. How did you come across the material? That is my first question. Actually, you know what's great is like I looked through some of the questions, and from time to time you're going to see what's going to look like me going like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not me reading a question.
Okay.
Just me being bored.
Okay. Better.
Hey, fun fact, before we even talk about the great, we met, I would say in 2000 and something in Sundance. Do you remember that?
I do. I remember meeting you. It was like it was at some hotel, like in the lobby, right? And we were like I just don't know, it was like off the side. I was young, but I don't remember how young I was.
Me neither. You would,
because I'm like, if I was at Sundance,
you maybe 15 or 16.
That seems.
No, you
was younger.
You were younger. Yeah, maybe you were.
No, maybe. I mean, I'm 23 now.
Maybe you were younger.
Maybe. But maybe not. Maybe like 14, 15. You're probably right, 15. Let me just.
We are here to talk about the great. And obviously there's many people. I probably said it to you drunkenly that night out in the garden somewhere that it's my favorite TV show. And I adore it, and I adore you and Nick together in this thing. So fun. When I saw it, I was like, thank God someone's doing this. It's like just a breath of fresh air. And I mean, my favorite thing is, I don't know, I'm kind of going to look at these things, but
look.
I mean, look, it's such a conversation, two friends talking about this, but like, I think the dialogue and the pacing and all of that stuff is probably my favorite part of the show. And let's just talk a little bit about that and about like coming into it, because it is so different, I'm sure, reading that stuff, from a lot of the other things you've, had in front of you.
Totally. I'd never done anything like it before, because I've never really done a comedy, quote unquote. I mean, I think our show it's a lot of things to like just put it as a comedy, but it's definitely, it's a dark comedy and a satire and that kind of specific tone. I never had to really like tell a joke like on screen. Like I've done a lot of dramatic characters and like mostly dramas. So when reading the script and getting to those moments where I'm like, oh, that's kind of a punchline, like how am I gonna, it just wasn't, it didn't flow completely for me. Whereas I think for Nick, he had done The Favorite previously. He, worked with Hugh Grant, which I think Nick has a very similar kind of Hugh Grant thing going on when he was younger. So that was very easy for him. And like most of the cast is also from theater. And I think having that theater background is really important for our show because the dialogue is so specific, and Tony does not let us, you cannot add in like an and a the, like it is so specific. Like you have to be punctuation word perfect, which allows, like, what do you feel this way? But it allows you to kind of be freer because you know what your parameters are in the dialogue and the rhythm of it. So it took me time to get used to like the comedic rhythm, I would say.
Yeah. That's like when I work, I'm often like, I think I have a reputation for people. I think people come to work with me thinking that they don't have to learn the script, which really annoys me because like I spend a long time writing these things, and they're like, he likes to improvise. Oh, it just means I can be lazy, and I can't really. I'm like, yeah, but I spent years writing that. You could also do just the words.
Yeah, totally.
So it's really nice when like I know what Tony means. It's like you want to hear your stuff, and you want to hear it fast. Like a lot of things with comedy is like the pace and the rhythm, and you guys do so well at that. And it's also great in a revelation that you're doing comedy because you are so funny and you're so good in it. Okay, Catherine. Just talk quickly because I've never talked to you about this, but like Catherine, like what drew you to that and to that character? Because it's pretty fascinating historical character.
It is. Yeah. I didn't know much about her other than the horse rumor, which was kind of like the, that she fucked a horse, but like the propaganda of that. I think that we went in because we had to pitch this to like, the Hulus and the other, like all the people before, because I signed on earlier, which was nice, but I got to be kind of a part of that process. And literally we went to one of those places and the guy was so pompous, and he was like, well, I'm a history major. And, it's like, he like literally believed the horse rumor. You were like, you douche, like you, like, what is like your deal? Obviously we didn't go with them.
Yeah.
But it just was so interesting that like he was trying to be this history major guy, and then no one actually knows that much about her, like truly what she did. So even though obviously our show isn't like completely historically accurate, like most of the themes or the things that, she's trying to change in Russia are real things that Catherine the Great did. And like the first season with the vaccine, she came up with the smallpox vaccine, which was interesting because that episode came out during the pandemic. And I think we even used the word like quarantine in our show. So it was a little telling the future a bit. Yeah. But yeah, I'm like your question, but about why I chose her, it's weird. I think the script set is so much a part of that. Like the writing is just truly exceptional. And I hadn't seen The Favorite when I chose to do it, so I actually had nothing to compare it to.
Right.
I don't know. I liked that she also wasn't necessarily like the strong. Tony and I talk about this a lot. Like, yes, she's very powerful and she has strength, but she's not like the strong female character that like is going to come in and be perfect and know everything. It's like much of the first season is her actually not knowing anything. Like she's thrust into this world and she has no idea what's going on. And she actually is like on the back step and like has to keep up. And I think the messiness of that, and especially now, we get to go into our third season. We're going to go soon we're about to start, but yeah. But just knowing that I can kind of take her to these different places, she can kind of do anything. And she's weirdly, like, especially in the second season, I think becoming more of a tyrant and like becoming a little more like Peter in a lot of ways. Like she's a bit ruthless and wanting to not be, but then she realizes like as a leader, I'm going to have to do some bad things. And she's not perfect. I mean, it's cliche saying that, but I don't know. A lot of female characters these days on screen, people just want them to do no wrong. And you're like, but
It's a
not
really
real.
interesting time. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. It's like a character flaw is like a really negative thing at the moment. It's
Yeah.
like, but everyone needs to be likable.
Right.
And I like that she's, that where she's playing those chess pieces. And, one of my favorite moments is when she comes to the castle and all those women are just throwing balls out into the field. She's like, what are you doing? And they're like, no idea. We just do this.
Yeah. Just like, we can't read. I'm like,
it's amazing. In this season, your character's pregnant. How was that? Tell me about that.
yes.
Yeah. How was that?
That was
Congrats.
interesting. Thank you. That was something. I mean, I knew obviously probably, okay, I'll probably be second. In the second season, I'll probably now be pregnant. And also like in a physical comedy way, I knew that I could probably play that up, which was going to be interesting because I'm like, well, as she gets bigger, like the waddle can become more. I can use that in certain situations. Like I love like in the show where really dramatic, like kind of serious, moments are also like cut by these kind of real life realities that are going on. So like, okay, that's great. If she's pregnant, she can kind of be, she's having to deal with this really serious political situation, but also like has cravings and like has to pee all the time or like is just sweating and hot. And so I'm like, that would be fun to play with. I had to do like a mold of my body and I wore the whole prosthetic. It was very heavy. I had a birthing scene in front of like the entire court. That was like all these background artists that were there watching me. I'm like, not the most, but I think like with comedy, I don't like, you just have, I learned quickly that you just like can't be embarrassed. Like, are you embarrassed? Like, what do you feel like what?
I
Like,
get embarrassed because I put myself in my own stuff and I'm just embarrassed that I'm like, how much of an egomaniac do you have to be? Like also put yourself into a comedy and think and be watching yourself in the edit and go, this guy's hilarious.
Yeah, and you're just paying people to laugh at you on set. Like,
yeah. But it is great. Like I think I have a fear of straight out dramas because I want to enjoy going to work, and I feel like that kind of stress would just freak me out. But also I just like people to have a good time, and I think when you free yourself up to be a clown or to be silly or to be laughed at, I think that's when the great moments happen.
Yeah.
And Nick's great at that as well. I think you and Nick together is so good. How was that? Like in the first season, I think my favorite lines is when he's like, "I don't you remember yesterday when I shot your bear."
Yeah. He's like when he shot my bear and punched me.
That's that. Yeah, punched you. I don't you remember yesterday.
I mean, what he's done with that character, I think, is really something so special. Like, it's just, I could watch him do it for like forever. Like, we met when I was young too. We did like this little like film. I was 14. He was a little bit older, but I was young. And so we kind of known each other. And he obviously like started acting at a young age like I did. So I think we have the like young actor kid thing in common. But
you're assholes.
Yeah, right. We're egomaniacs that just love hearing ourselves talk.
Entitled little pricks. Yeah.
Yeah. And that it just works. Like there's nobody else like that I could even do it with. Like the banter, and when we get into that zone, it's like we can both feel it and we're like just like going at it, it's just like the spark, and it's like fire. I don't know. really enjoy it. And mostly, like you were saying earlier, like with the pace and stuff, like a lot of the directors, if like a scene isn't working or something, Tony will either come in and add a fuck or a fucking to one of the lines,
Yeah.
or he'll just say like, just go through, like just say it as fast as you can. And that normally works.
That is basically, as a direction I've learned, is like the only thing I should just say now is just tell me to do it faster. I will give you 5 incredibly different things with faster. No, just do it. Just get the words out. And again, for comedy, it's really vital because, you know, in the edit we find we had to cut lots of stuff, and in all my films we're doing this laboring over the lines.
Totally.
It's taking the time.
Yeah.
And and you know, for a show like this, it's the energy is everything, because there's so many people. It's such a massive ensemble cast. By the way, I haven't even said congratulations for the nomination.
Oh, thank you.
And also for the ensemble as well.
Yes, yeah.
How's that with working with everyone? It was a fantastic bunch of people.
They have put together, like, because you never know, right? It's interesting, like when a show starts, it's like, okay, the first season, these people are gonna be with you through, you know, hopefully a couple years. It's like putting together people that are talented, but also just really kind people, like that you want to spend time with. And all of them are that, like, they're just, I can't think of anyone doing, you know, anyone else doing these parts, like what they've brought to them. And each person cares so much and about I think that's why the show works. Like, it wouldn't work if you weren't invested in each character and their kind of arc and their particular you know, idiosyncrasies that they've added to that person. And it's really special. So yeah,
I get the feeling that everyone wants to be there as well. I think that's also like taking, like, because how long was the break between season 1 and shooting season 2?
God, I'm so not going to get this right. It was probably like 6 months, 5 months.
That's a long time for people, you know,
time.
and to be out of those characters and then to come back. And obviously it's like, if you're a good actor, you know, obviously it can look like you want to be there. But I do get that feeling that everyone, and also like with the ensemble cast, and you know, this is probably showing my ignorance in that, you know, a lot of these people I'd never really didn't know their work, and like, you know, I wasn't, you know, sure who a lot of them were. And it's so nice to see that it's not just going through it's the same list again. You know, the people, here's the one who's always going to play that best friend character, here's the one who's always going to be you know, the nerdy guy. And so it's like really nice to see fresh people.
Tony and Mary and the producer, they like just, you know, auditioned so many people, and that was obviously, it's so important, but they looked through so many. And we're very close now. It's like it's going to be weird when I don't like, we have a lot more to do, but I'm like, if this ends, like, I'm going to sob my eyes out. Like, this is just something that I'm just looking forward to do great. Like, always, I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'll get to go and I'll do that. And I'll have that for those months. And especially like during the pandemic too, like it's weird. Like, well, on set, it is weird, isn't it? Like, how's all that stuff going, the on set stuff? And I just went through a lot of it with you know, what I found is like the problem is like, you know, we take for granted how much connection is like from here down. And so I would direct people, and I'm coming up and I'm like, okay, man, so that was great. Just do it like this. Like, give me sort of something like this, and I want you to be like, well, hey, yeah, okay. And then get out of that, and they're like, I'm just gonna win. I'm like, yeah. The other thing that happens on set, and if you know, and you probably knew everyone already from seeing their faces, but something happens where, like, I think everyone from here up, everyone is beautiful. Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, if you have a crush on someone and you're like, wow, I'm just so in love with you. And then that one day where they say, you can all take a breather, and they go, and then mouths are like this. And you're like, whoa.
I know.
Put that back on. I fell in love with your eyes.
It is a real shock when you're like, because you've actually created an entire personality for that person. You're like, oh, I see you, and you're like this, and you look like this, and this is what you do. This is what you like to eat and drink. Like, it's like everything. And then it takes down. You're like,
Yeah, and a big like twisty mustache flops out.
It's like, oh no, you're
Yeah,
so
that's it.
different.
Oh no, I didn't know you're a Silver Lake barista.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah. So okay, so we're gonna finish up talking about season 3, which I'm excited. I'm excited for. Tell me about it. What's gonna happen?
Well,
No
honestly,
spoilers. No spoilers.
if you even asked me, I wouldn't even know. Like Tony is so like shut mouthed about it, and he writes as he goes along. So I haven't gotten any scripts. We're only going to get like the first 2 scripts when we start in a couple months. And then that's how it always is. Like he is writing while we're filming. So it's a lot of work for him, but I'm not sure. He has like a whole kind of arc, and then it changes a lot. And we do a table read before each block, which is helpful, I think, for him to hear it and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Nick Peter and Catherine, where it ends up, they've kind of both betrayed each other. So I'm like, I don't know how they're going to move forward, because
Well, here's what I know. I've actually talked to Tony, and they don't move forward. Your character dies in the first scene of the first episode.
Great.
So
And then you come in,
then I come in, and
Yeah.
it's me and Nick. So this was kind of like a sort of a farewell Zoom, actually.
Oh, darn, you're breaking the news to me.
Yeah, this is it. This is how we do it now. I'm actually the new studio head, and we hate you. I'm going to finish now. I'm done. I love you.
Me too. I love you too.
And it's been fantastic. And best of luck. I'll see you around the traps.
I will. I'll see you. Good luck with Thor.
Thanks, man. All right.